All right, we're live
We're
here.
on. Hello, hello, hello.
We are on Kumu, and wherever you are watching right now, we have an exciting interview coming up, as you can see here with Recess. But first, before we get right into it, hello, Belle. Why don't you tell our audience who might be interested how they can check out Recess and keep up with you?
Hi. Well, yeah, you can check out Recess on Instagram at our.recess or on our website www.our.recess.com, or we also have a LinkedIn profile, Facebook, and I think Instagram's the easiest. Just come follow us or shop on our website.
And
Thanks, Pam.
speaking of which, thanks. So speaking of which, hello everyone, wherever you are watching from. This is Hustle Inside the Industry, where we talk to professionals and find out how they got here, why they're doing what they do, and what it takes to do it. So we are on probably just as many channels as Recess here. We're live right now on any Rappler channel that has video, including Kumu. So if you're streaming us on Kumu right now, please join in the conversation. We do accept hearts, of course, but you can also send over some questions if you have any for Bell about Recess or some diamonds, especially if you like what you hear.
And if you're not yet on Kumu, you can download the app. That's Kumu, Kumu. Make sure to follow rapper.com. That's rapper, DOTCOM. So we spell out the .com.
There you go. And if you like
Yeah.
this interview and you want to play it back in podcast form, just follow Hustle Inside the Industry on Spotify or your preferred podcast platform. This episode comes out next Monday, October 25. Okay. As always, this is Powie.
And this is Tristan. We are part of Rappers Hustle team.
Okay, so Tristan, you're clearly, and by the way, Belle, welcome to the official space. So
Welcome to the
Tristan is in the
office.
Rappler office,
This is the
right? As you
Rapper
can
Thanks
see,
for
HQ.
having me, Rappler,
Yeah.
and of course, Kumu. Thanks, guys.
there you go. But Tristan, let's say you're back in your apartment. I don't know, what's your usual go-to lounge attire or work from home?
Actually, Pawi, I've always been the like pambahay kind of guy. But like after this pandemic, like I think pambahay also kind of changed its definition.
Right,
Like I remember
right.
in the past, like okay, if you were wearing pambahay, it should be the clothes are that already worn out, that sort of thing. But right now, like I notice I'm practically wearing the same clothes I wear outside and inside. Like the difference lang is like I
Exactly.
put on a jacket or whatnot.
Exactly. So I think we're going to talk about that shifts, those shifts throughout this conversation here. As you know, like comfort is the key these days, but so is functionality. Your home is also your workplace. But anyway, what do we know? Here, Tristan and I venture into the unknown once again to talk about something we know nothing
Women's
about: women's
women's
activewear.
wear.
Okay, great. You have the
Our kind of
expert
thing,
here.
diba?
But don't worry, we have someone to cover for us. So, for those who do know, you've likely heard about Recess, a young and colorful new brand known for its holistic and inclusive approach to physical and mental well being. It only launched last year and is now taking Philippine athleisure by storm thanks to its all star co founders, Ann Curtis, Roxanne Farillas, Paulina Page Ortega, and of course, tonight's special guest, Isabelle Daza. So, welcome, Belle. Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Belle.
Hey, Powie. Hey, Tristan. Thanks again for having me. And of course, featuring Recess.
Awesome. And loving your locale right now. I'm sure it's better in the
I,
Pawi
daytime, but
Sepangs. You're
diba?
getting
yeah,
FOMO.
Welcome back to the Philippines, by the way. Yeah, how's it going?
thank you. And I love what you're wearing, Powie. Is that the OJ
Oh,
Comfort Zone pullover?
yes.
What
I'm so
a
glad
coincidence.
you're
What a
which is why
Tristan,
coincidence,
Tristan and I
Pawi.
open with this. There you go. We're matching. Are we matching? You got
yeah,
the
we
thing.
are. I'm wearing the pandan.
There you go. Tristan, you didn't get the memo. You didn't get the
Yeah,
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah, you just got my jacket. Like I think si Pawi is sanay na. Like I've been wearing this jacket for like the past
Dude, I'm
it gets
like
cold in the office here.
anyway, this is the new Pambahay, dude. It's styled up, yo. Styled up. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Belle, obviously like we're guys who know very much about fashion. So maybe you can tell us like maybe in the process, right, like differentiate what's activewear, what's athleisure, what are these new terms And maybe tell us, Ren, what is Recess and what's your vision behind Recess?
Yeah, well, recess is really about well being that feels just right for everyone. That's our vision. We want to encourage people to carve out, build the habit and carve out that time for them to recess. Our mission is to get people to practice feeling good, physically, mentally, emotionally, etc., about themselves and their lives. So, when you think of activewear, sometimes it becomes intimidating. It's like performance, you have to really do your best.
Mm,
We
yeah.
wanted a space that just you could do things recreationally and you could give yourself a break. So at recess, we say, when my full potential needs a break, that's really the what we wanted to create for recess. And now we have our loungewear, which is what Pawi and I are wearing. So it's buildable sets. It's called the Flexwear Collection, and we want to basically be adjustable to your life, whether you're at home, you're running an errand, or you're like you, Tristan, you're at the office. Something that is comfortable that you can lounge in but is also presentable, because like you said earlier, when we think of pangbahay or when we're just at home, it's usually like very old t-shirts, maybe with holes and things like that. So we wanted something that you would feel good in, and comfortable having meetings like this, but in your own home. Did it
Nice.
was that
I love it.
okay?
That was perfect. I also love the branding there. And I'm not going to ever take this jacket off and show you how many holes this shirt underneath has. But anyway, like,
Tawi ba
so
pwedeng contest? Like, we have our
uh,
guests guess how many
and-
holes your
no,
shirt has.
that's we'll invite you. We'll invite you back for that. That's a spin-off show, Bell. Anyway, PG-13, of course. Anyway, reminding everyone, if you like what you hear, of course, send us diamonds. And if you're even more curious, send us questions. You can leave them in the comments, really, in any platform you're watching from. But I'm going to start things off right now. So, Belle, I'm sure many of our listeners are familiar with you and your work, especially in showbiz, but they're probably less aware of your work as an entrepreneur. I know you've had a couple of businesses, so why don't you tell our audience briefly about your business background and how the roads somehow led to Recess?
I don't have a business background. I didn't study it at all. I just like making money and earning money, to be honest. But
Yeah.
I did venture into a couple of businesses early on when I had some money saved from show business. And I think a big part of it is because growing up with somebody like my mom, who would always say that showbiz is feast or famine. Sometimes you have a lot of work and sometimes you have none, and you can go a year without working. I was a bit worried that somebody held the power of my career. Does that make sense? So I
Yeah,
didn't want
yeah.
to give somebody that power. I wanted to build my own thing, and I ventured off into, like, I invested in a cycling studio, and I set up like a little preschool, recess. So I have like little investments where I learn how to, I guess, start a company and operate. And then, of course, recess started when Anne is one of my best friends, called me up and she said, "Do you want to put up an activewear brand?" And that
Mhm.
time, Anne and I had been working out every single day for the past, I don't know, maybe 2 years. And
Where,
every
where
time we
where were
worked,
you at this time?
I was here in the
Physically, were you
Philippines.
all okay? You were all here.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was here in the Philippines. I didn't have a baby yet. And then I said, "That's funny that you mentioned that because I've been working on something." So I showed her what I was working on and she was working on something. And then I introduced her to Paulina, who's my friend, and she introduced me to Roxanne, who's her business partner. And we were like, why don't we just join forces and distribute
Nice.
the workload? And that's how our team came about. And it was really perfect because everybody has their own role. And, like any partnership, you learn how to work with each other. But yeah, I think it was a good. It started off rough because we were supposed to launch pre-pandemic in March 2020, and
Oh,
then when the pandemic hit,
okay.
we were like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? So we pushed everything back till December. So I
Wow.
would say we're a brand that was launched during the pandemic.
Just a few months old. Damn,
Yeah,
Tristan, that's crazy.
Yeah.
at a year old.
Actually, I think I want to go into the dynamics because you already mentioned it partly. Like you have your own roles. So can you like expound what exactly are your roles? Like how are you dividing tasks right now? Because I know like growing a business in the middle of a pandemic, it
Ugh.
can be tough. Lalo na when you're growing a business, you want to be hands on. So maybe
Yeah.
you can shed some light on like the
Yeah.
dynamics that you mentioned.
Yeah, sure. So Paulina is the overall creative director. She approves everything that you see on Instagram, on our website, anything that's cute. It's Paulina, and of course the team behind it. Right? I'm not. I
Mm.
think I can talk about that later. But yeah,
Yeah.
so Paulina
Yeah.
is the creatives and creatives and marketing. Anne is also in the creatives and marketing side. Roxanne, she does the merchandising. So Roxanne is really good
Mm.
with, all the fabrics and knowing where the supplier is and sourcing that. And, she's been in the industry for so long. So
Yeah.
she's
Plains
very
and prints, right?
yeah, exactly. Plains and Prince. She's very seasoned, and I am just a little bit scattered everywhere, checking in. Like in the beginning of it, I was in charge of customer service and our logistics. So the
Okay.
3PL company that we were working with wasn't great. So I had to like be in charge of that, and I have no background there. I was like winging it, so I was pretending to know what I was talking about. But yeah, but through that I learned. I really just faked it till I make it, and what
Mm.
I would advise to entrepreneurs who are listening is if you don't know, there's absolutely no shame in that and no shame in asking
Yeah.
for help. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So was that clear enough?
Yeah. It's
All of
not,
Yeah.
us,
we were curious about that because it's, you're talking about four founders, right?
yeah.
And
So all of us
it's
decide
Powerhouse
definitely,
founders.
what
uh,
what the next collection will be. For example, like okay, we're gonna release this, and then everybody gives their vote on what colors, and then
oh, that's
and then
cool.
we're like binabaril, like no, that's not cute anymore, or we take
So
a vote.
you all have a say
Try
ultimately,
to, yeah.
in the band.
And we try to, if somebody can't do one thing, then can you cover for that person? So
Yeah.
we really try to have like teamwork. But
Nice.
honestly, the team behind Recess is just amazing. So us founders, we can't take credit for that because the team we have, we're such a small lean team, is so dedicated and so switched on that it's inspiring to be working with them. Like we learn a lot from them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll dig into the details of that, of course. Again, reminding everyone, please leave us those hearts, diamonds, and questions. So on my end, you did mention that you launched just last December. So that means
Yeah.
you fall under our ding 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 pandemic baby
Pandemic
category,
baby.
which
Exactly.
a lot of we've been getting a lot of pandemic baby guests with very uh, accelerated success and growth. So hopefully that continues for all of you. Obviously, wishing the best. Why don't you tell us from your personal experience, like what was it like hitting the market at such a volatile time, right in the middle of pandemic, especially as a brand? And please educate us on this. But from my perspective, activewear is a really new market here in the Philippines. And when you think about it, during the pandemic, exercise and sports were like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, what was that even like for you? Were you scared at all? Yeah, tell us what was it
So
like to be in your shoes?
yeah, all of us were scared because we didn't think it was appropriate to launch right when the lockdown happened, right when the pandemic hit. Obviously, there was so much news. Everybody was worried about their jobs and stuff like that. What we did was we pivoted and we created a community and we thought, what do people need right now? People need something to take their mind off the stress of the pandemic. So if you look at our content, we created content that we needed personally, like, you know, banana bread recipes, meditation.
Wow.
We wanted a community that was really engaged and supported each other. And so instead of launching products to sell, we created content that was helpful to the community that wanted to listen. And yeah, I think it was really helpful for us to keep our feet on the ground and listen to what the community or our consumers wanted, because it wasn't a time to be selling products. It was a time to show up for
Yeah.
our community.
Yeah,
So
wait, but
that's what happened
but
March all
people
the way to
bought it
December.
anyway. Yeah. Yeah, go on, go
Well,
on. Yeah.
when we launched in December, we were very thankful that people loved the products because, again, as I said, the Philippines can also be a duopoly with when it comes to activewear. It's like these two giant brands that are,
Right.
dominating the market, and we came in. We're just like the little baby cousin that's non-threatening, and we're a space that you don't have to be a high performing athlete. You can come in and wear our clothes to walk your dog or to go into the groceries or to meet your in-laws. um yeah, so I think there was definitely it was well received, and people really embraced our core values of, we're passionate about the ethos and purpose of what we bring. We like to encourage, taking a break from what stresses you out and just taking that time for yourself. What do you guys do to recess? What do you guys do to chill?
Oh, that's at the
Yeah.
end of the
Ooh.
show? No, no, no. But no, it's
Yeah.
okay. Let's give Bell. Why don't you go first, Tristan?
Yeah, actually, Belle, I wanted to ask. So, like, first, I wanna like give my kudos because like you've checked like multiple boxes. Like amidst a pandemic, you were able to like put mindfulness like one's well-being as part of like your ethos of the brand. So, but I wanted to go into the operation side of things. Like we mentioned earlier that you're operating a rather small team and it's quite remote. So like on the operation side, how are you like running a online retailer like Recess right now? Maybe you
Yeah.
can give us a
Yeah.
bit of info regarding
E-commerce.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're fully e-commerce, and we are fully e-commerce. Everybody works from home or remotely. And I think each of us founders have people that quote unquote report to them or check in on them. And when people ask me, I always say, like, I don't think I'm the boss. I love working with people and checking in on them and asking them, hey guys, do you need my help for something? So I'll give you an example. Every week we have alignment meetings. I know that word is used
Hmm.
so often, alignment meetings. But before
Huddle,
we do
Monday
the
huddle.
alignment meetings, we kind of like chat about how was your weekend, and what do you feel like you guys want to do this week? Do you want to do yoga? Do you want to do maybe a wine tasting? Because we also want to extend that company culture within our community. And one example is recently last week, the team has been asking me to help create content for mental health, right? So, what are these buzzwords? We talk about, let's say, trauma, anxiety, depression, and all these things. And I said, you know what? Before we tackle these words, why don't you guys go deeper and really learn what it means? So, I set up a call with my friend who's a psychiatrist to talk to the team, and they were so engaged. And I just thought that it brought a different kind of enthusiasm to creating content, and it was meaningful content because it wasn't just what's trendy. It really meant something to them and they learned something. So parang I love, we all of us, not just me, sorry, the founders and the recess team love
Hmm.
um, being engaged in the things that we create, because then it's so much easier for us to talk about it. Does it make sense?
That makes total sense. I'm also gonna use this time to shout out my girlfriend who's part of the Reese's team. There we go,
Yes.
Miss
Oh my God.
Karina.
Karina
She's the
is
best.
amazing. She does like the job amazing. Yeah, we usually meet on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry if you sometimes hear me being annoying in the background, but of your Zoom calls.
No, I'm
Anyway,
gonna say hi to you
yeah.
next time.
No, I'm
Answer your
very quiet.
question, Tristan.
Yes. Go ahead.
Did
Go
I
ahead.
answer your question?
I
You were
sorry.
saying how we
Yes.
operate during the
Yes.
pandemic. So everybody just works from home. And recently we had a call yesterday on how do we measure KPIs. And one of the things that Paulina suggested was brilliant. It's like checking in on the people you work with and say, hey, what are your tasks for
Mm,
today? And
yeah.
how can I help you? So like for
Yeah.
example, I'll ask, let's say, Karina or Phoebe or Cam, like, hey guys, what are your tasks for today? How do you think I can help you? Um, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
rather than just delegating work. Na parang, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that?
Yeah.
So hopefully,
You
our
know,
team loves working with us.
yeah. So there you go. And then hopefully our listeners also get inspired, not just by your example, but who knows, maybe there are a lot of people out there looking for interesting places to work, right? So we can plug that
Yeah,
in later,
for
right?
a accounting manager right now.
Ayan. Okay, there we go. Use my referral code, of course, for my commission. Anyway, okay. So this is all fun stuff, and very it's very timely, as Tristan mentioned. Okay, not saying that there was um not saying that you got lucky or anything, but this seems to be the perfect time for this kind of brand to thrive right now. So again, kudos to you on that. Let's get a little more concrete now. I want to talk about the products, right? So again, I'm sporting this unisex pullover. Now, granted, this is a
Yeah,
much more different style than what I normally. I have. I actually am a jacket kind of guy, like
yeah.
sport tracksuit kind of guy. So this is design wise, it's way different, by the way. But anyway, enough about me. Why don't you paint us a bigger picture of Reese's product line and how people have been responding here in the Philippines? Like, what have they been buying, and what are your insights on what people value from those?
Yeah. So we found we really wanted to be inclusive and not just say it and not really practice
Right,
it.
right.
So we our sizes go up to size 7. So we really welcome all different types of bodies, and it's not just like how some brands, maybe they don't have these sizes that go really really small or go really really bigger. So we wanted it to be inclusive. We wanted to promote diversity as well. It's not just like the one size fits all. We recognize that everyone is unique, and we celebrate that. And this also starts with our team and our hiring process. It trickles down to everything we create, from products to pricing down to communication. It's When we create something, it's not like, oh, only this type of person would like it. We
Hmm.
ask for everybody's opinion, and I think that is what is beneficial with having a company so young, and a
Right,
team
right.
that's so lean, is that we're very agile and we can listen to our consumer. So we can post on Instagram, say, hey guys, what colors do you think is better, this or this? And if 80% votes this,
Oh,
then we're like, well, this is what our audience wants, then let's go
market
for that.
research.
Yeah, market
So
research, a lot
smart.
of the things on social media are so helpful.
That's crazy.
um yeah, and also our products, we don't want to have a lot. It's not necessarily mass produced. We want you to somehow feel special when you own it, so we only have a small amount of quantity. And then when it gets sold out, a lot of people ask us to reissue it, but we don't want to reissue just you know necessarily to make money. We really hold, when we make a promise and say this is made in small batches, even though we get a lot of DMs asking us to make more, we really try to stick with our integrity and say sorry, that was the last bit, so that it's special. But yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
um,
Tristan?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
actually, Belle, I wanna. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just waiting for you.
Okay. So actually, I wanted to ask rin kasi you mentioned nga na these things like inclusivity, athleisure, these are the things that are not that common yet in the Philippines. They're pretty much niche interests. So I wanted to ask, like, where do you get inspiration? Like, do you base it on like other brands abroad? How do you
Hmm.
conceptualize basically?
um you mean like our references? I think it's
Yeah, like do
about,
you base it on trends abroad? Like, what? How do
Or
you?
even your strategies.
Yeah,
Are other
strategies
countries,
and
do they have comparable trends also? Is this like
that's a
just
really good
the
question.
yeah, is there a bigger global movement basically? Yeah.
That's a really good question. I won't lie and say that we don't look at other countries and we don't look at trends, but we like to make a balance of having something that's on trend, but something that is also timeless. And so sometimes my partners and I, we have debates on it, like, no, neon's not gonna work, and like neon's really cool, and then we it goes back and forth, and then we do a voting. Thank God neon, the party issue of the Lady Legend went through because it did really well. But when we develop products, we do look at trends and forecasting, and then how do we tailor it to what we like as the founders, and also to our audience, what do they seem to want. So I think it's a balance of like being able to spot trends early and also tailoring it to the needs of your consumer, which is, mainly here in the Philippines.
Yeah. Okay. Just like to kind of like get a little analytical. Of course, this is all just opinion based, but I still want to dig further into the fact that this is like, again, for me, you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like a very like nascent uh market, like, but from what I see, like a lot of especially young Filipinos are really embracing the brand. So my question for you is, from your perspective, why do you think, like, maybe on like a psychological level, that is like, what elements of this pandemic and like just the era we live in right now, do you think make it so that Filipinos are like, yeah, recess, like, let's do it?
That's a good question too. I think, first of all, I think the creative team did such a great job on our branding and
Hmm.
desirability and just overall aesthetic. It's really pleasing to the eye and it's cute.
Yeah.
But it's a mix of the timing of what people need. People need to feel good about themselves because
Agree.
the outside world is just so scary. You don't know what's going to happen with the future. You're scared of your job security. You're worried about, paying the bills, and also, like, are you ever going to be able to do normal things again? And then in comes recess, and we say, hey, it's okay to take a break from all your worries and do something that feels good for yourself. So take that time, bake that
Hmm.
banana bread, slow down. We're on a mission to get people to practice feeling good physically, mentally, emotionally, holistically, not just
Yeah. Yeah.
one aspect of your life. Because yeah, you can feel good physically, but mentally, emotionally is not, if that's not being cared for, then it's not enough, right?
Yeah. That's
So
terrible.
that's why our vision is really well-being that feels just right for everyone. Well-being that feels just right for you, Pawi, is different from well-being that feels right
Mm.
for you, Kristen.
Hmm.
And so people really embrace that because it celebrates the differences and uniqueness of different people. We say, let's recess together based on whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I
Nice.
think that trickles down, like, since that's what you stand for, that trickles down to everything that you do. Like you mentioned inclusivity, like the sizes, like
Hmm.
Yeah.
you carry sizes up to
And the models,
seven.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
And the
models,
comfort. So
the comfort, and even just with our employees, like what could we do that is fun? Do you guys want to do a yoga session? Do you want to do hit class? Or let's do a breath work, let's do meditation, let's speak with a life coach. And it's really coming from the team themselves, like, oh, I want to learn about this, I want to attend this talk. It's not all just work, work, work. Okay, sell, sell,
Yeah.
sell, make this. It's cultivating that workplace that you enjoy and you're happy to be a part of. Because as we've learned, it's not about only one thing, it's the overall picture of really cultivating that happiness.
yeah, and
Mm.
ayun nga, parang that's what we need right now. Eh. Like we have to take the pressure off ourselves. Like you don't
Yes.
have to be productive. You have to give yourself more leeway, especially under the circumstances that we find ourselves in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I want to share a funny anecdote. So,
Go,
um,
Bowie.
um, our five followers who follow our show religiously probably remember that I was in La Union just like 2 weeks ago. And Belle, you might have heard this one, but you did have the breathwork session with Karina, and then like hours later, I found out that your breathwork guy was also in La Union. with us. Like I could
No
have
way.
totally, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's so funny.
Cool.
It's so funny. Like we could have just gone to that session in person if we wanted. But
Yeah.
no, but I did want to ask on that note about this idea of remote work, and we've actually had a mini series on our podcast. Most recently with Sprout, which is an HR solutions company. They're doing really well in the startup scene here locally. They talk a lot about work life integration. We used to say work life balance, but as you mentioned, it's like a little more integrated now. Why don't you tell us really quick about your remote setup operation? Why don't you even tell us like how diverse it is, like where people are like working, and then tell us like what have been the challenges of that, and how have you been like reconciling with it?
Yeah. Well, I was in France just last month, and I was working from there. So I would wake up at 5 a.m. to do some meetings. And then
Wow.
I obviously, like, I didn't have any help. So I was taking care of a newborn and my son. So I couldn't take on a lot of meetings. I'd have like maybe 3 to 4 max in a day. But I think there are pros and cons to working remotely. First of all, one is that we don't need to meet in person to get things done, right? We can have it via Zoom or via Google Meets. That's a pro, I would say. Two is maybe a con would just be, obviously I miss being social and being around people and
uh
talk to-
yes.
right, like having a conversation, making me going out, having a tea or a coffee. Um, that's a con, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think with the pandemic, everybody was able to kind of adjust with the work from home integration, as you say. One of the things that's difficult, and I'm sure some of the viewers feel this, is when you're working from home, there's no line, right? So
Yeah.
especially with kids, you're just always working, 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 and you're never really home because you're thinking of work. Does that make sense?
Mm, that is the tricky part.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
Tristan?
yeah, because usually if you're in at on office, when you go home, it's your drive home is that's the time you decompress, that's the
Right. Right.
wind down, and then when you get home you're like, okay, it's family time, it's Netflix time, it's time for me to watch a show. I'm just gonna, chill. But when your laptop is there and you know that you have emails that are coming, you kind of are just constantly back going.
Uh,
So that is a, I would say, a con. You don't have the time to decompress and the car ride back or the commute back. And one of the challenges, I guess, would be working from different time zones. Paulina is working in
right.
Australia, so she does a lot of the approvals for the creatives or finding our schedules. Because I'm sure Anne is very busy. Roxanne
Mhm.
also has other businesses, so it's finding a common time that Anna, by the way, I didn't even mention Anna. Anna is our
All
brand
right.
manager, and she's
Shout out to
like a
Anna.
gift
Yeah.
from heaven. She is so organized, she's so competent, and she's just on top of everything. And I love working with her because she's funny, and yeah, I just love Anna. So Anna, she's our brand manager. She tries to book us all four, and she's like, "When are you guys free?" But thankfully, we make time for it.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
that's not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one of our challenges is probably finding the time between all four of us to sit down and say, okay, guys, we have a 4 hour meeting on strategy building and forecasting for 2022. It's like, that seems like it's so much to do.
Yeah. But you get it done.
We do get it done, but there are times where I'm like, my brain is soup already. I just wanna,
Yeah.
you know,
Amen.
go
Yeah.
and watch Insta stories. I'm so bad.
Yeah, parang what I see here is that all these changes, they're part of this larger digital transformation, like working remotely.
Right. Right.
But I think one benefit that you're a quote unquote, like Tawi said earlier, a pandemic baby, is that you get to you get to integrate the current changes into your brand, like your
Yeah.
brand culture. Yeah. So
Yes.
I wanted to delve into innovation. Like I know right now that internally you are embracing a lot of innovation, like with your work
Mm-hmm.
dynamics, working remotely, etc. But like when it comes to external facing material, like how do you practice like that culture of innovation so evident right now? So, I
Yeah.
know that Tawi mentioned this one time that you're having live selling. So
Hmm.
maybe you could tell us more about those
So
Yeah.
your
innovations in your
question is,
marketing.
how do we practice innovation internally?
No,
No,
externally, like in your
externally, because we
marketing.
did the
Are you,
internal.
yeah, are you experimenting? Or what are your
Yeah.
experiments
Because like
basically?
so again for
Yeah.
because so the name of the game right now is e-commerce, right? And in Tristan and I, we've gotten a lot of e-commerce companies come on the show, and it's always like, oh yeah, we sell and then we do all this other stuff. You did mention some of the other stuff already, like content creation. What other things are out there for like uh, e-commerce retailers like yourselves to like really play around with on these platforms?
Yeah, so it's great you asked because we are launching what we call our rec room or recreational room. And this is going to be a separate site for our community. And it's just somewhere that we're not selling anything. It's just somewhere where people can go for either like mindful meditation or, if they want to know banana bread, how to bake, because people always love that. Things that, again, make you feel good for you. So the rec room is that community or that space, that support that really helps all of our consumers and our clients, and I don't know, people go to it. So it's being built already. Actually done. We haven't launched it yet. And they find, like I said, banana bread recipes. They yoga sessions. If
Cool.
they have questions about how to, being a mom, a new mom, or just anything under the sun that will make you feel good physically, mentally, and emotionally. We're gonna have sound baths there. We're gonna have Dr. Leah come on and talk about changing your frequencies. um, yeah, I think those are the small innovations we are having
Hmm.
externally. But internally, you mentioned Pawi, like there's a HR company called Sprout.
Hmm.
I like wrote it down, like, okay, we might look
Mhm.
into that in the future
Oh,
because
definitely, I love them. Yeah, they're all about this stuff too, and working with companies like you. And yeah, we are. Uh,
And
uh,
wellness
if you
value,
haven't
they're also
already,
into wellness right
what
now. Like
what?
yeah,
Sprouts is also into wellness right now.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's the name of, and you know what? It's not even like a trend thing, right, guys? Like we need this. It's straight up
yeah,
like people
it's the
need
need.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a need. And my husband was telling me it's funny that all your businesses are linked to wellness, and I'm like, that's because it's my passion. Wellness is literally my passion.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I try to incorporate that in everything that I do and practice. And sometimes it does get very stressful, and there are a lot of pressures, but I'm not going to say I take that on alone. Definitely that I'm not giving credit myself there. I think the team is key and essential into creating this wonderful brand as well. That's efficient.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teamwork makes the
So
dream
shout
work.
out to our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Phoebe, Pam, Karina, Anna, Ella, Stephen, and our intern. Sorry, I just had to mention all of their names because they've been.
Yay. Look at that, like right off the top of your head. So awesome.
Yeah, it's like,
We are actually winding down this interview rather nicely. Just a couple more questions. We're going to now move on to the future. So speaking of innovation and trends and stuff, and we did talk about like what's potentially going on locally and globally in these markets. How about you, Belle? Again, this is an opinion question. Again, what's your prediction for where this is all gonna go? Right? We said again, in the moment right now, the wellness is the key, and a lot of companies are listening to that and honing it. But let's say in a few years from now, especially in a post-pandemic future, and especially when work from homers now have to go to the office and maybe don more office attire, less pambahay, as Tristan mentioned earlier. I don't know. Where do you think uh, it's this is all going?
I think consumers now are being more demanding with the brands that they consume. They want transparency. So definitely radical transparency is going to be something that is not even demanded, it's just a standard, right? People are going to want to know, or if not, they already do, where your stuff is produced, what's it made out of, is it harming the environment, what is it doing to improve our lives, right? So why I say this is
Mm.
because I think a lot of small brands that are popping up are gaining momentum because the bigger brands and the ones that are, really very mainstream and kind of dominated the industry are seeing that consumers are becoming more wary, right, of where things are
Mm.
produced.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one, I think. So if you're starting a company, I think it's really important that you create an ethos and stand for something, like if it's going to be sustainability, if it's going to be, or have that in your brand identity, um where else it's going. I think collaboration. I think brands are definitely looking to collaborate more, and not only with bigger brands but with other people who can really maybe give
Oh.
added value or insight
Uh-huh.
into creating, developing a product. So I think collaboration is key because right now everybody has access to everyone, right? I can DM, let's say, Drake,
Mm-hmm.
just an example, or somebody else. So I think collaboration is somewhere where we're going also. What else?
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
and
can I just on that note, are are you able to get Drake on our show? Is that what you
no,
said?
I'm just giving an example of how like
Oh,
now
okay.
they're so accessible
Shucks. I
through
tried.
social media that collaborations are true partnerships and collaborations are where we're going. And also, I think um, obviously we talked about diversity, inclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably something else that I think is going to happen is hmm. Are you talking? I don't know if you're talking because only about the Philippines, or are we talking about like global?
Oh no, let's just go. Let's go
Yeah, we
into
can go
it for
global.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are more open now to different, like, what happened with the pandemic made everything faster, right? So online work, payment systems available online, it just sped up
Mm.
everything. So we were already heading there. The pandemic just sped everything up. Um, I
Amen.
don't know yeah, I don't know if I should say like I think cryptocurrency is going to be a thing, but obviously there
Yeah,
are a lot of
it
things.
is a thing. It's a thing
I
right
mean,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a payment system. I mean,
Yeah.
um,
Right.
what else? Yeah, there and lastly,
Woo.
people care about wellness. They realize this pandemic, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't feel good and you don't feel, I guess, content or happy, it doesn't mean anything. So the most important thing is your well-being overall, and
Nice.
so people are
Amen.
valuing it now.
And now it's like Pandora's box. Like you can't like put it back in. Like once you start already wearing loungewear, you
Oh
start
no.
prioritizing your comfort.
This
Why
is
would you
how
wear like
Bell
a
recruits me into the fold. I'm team recess now. I'm
diba? Like
Yeah,
would you go back
I'm gonna
to
demand more products for men. By the way, there you go. And
so
now
many
you're gonna
guys have
make
been messaging us about that.
yes.
Maybe.
now you're actually gonna make lagi because like in the past like Spowie when he goes to the office he's like the only guy like wearing formal attire in like a in a newsroom. So
Yeah.
I'm
No, but
guessing like post
I wear my
pandemic.
sports jackets. I wear
Oh yeah, you do.
my
Yeah,
yeah.
sports jacket, but underneath you're wearing like your polo and your like
Oh yeah, for
slacks.
sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah. So
That's
yeah.
the style.
It's a style.
so we already talked about like global trends. So how about recess? Let's talk about what exciting paths lie ahead of your brand.
Well, we just finished our strategy for the coming years, and we just finished discussing our 2022 collection. So it's exciting because we learned from our mistakes, and we are obviously improving the material, the cuts. We also listen to our customers and our consumers over what they like, what they don't like, what they see, what they don't see. So Recess has really built a strong and engaged community, and we love hearing their feedback. And maybe that's a reason why also people keep coming back, is because we
Mm,
have products that they don't necessarily see elsewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm really proud of our brand identity. Now when people see something, they're like, oh, that's really Recess.
Very
And that
distinct.
thanks to the team, thanks to everybody working behind, and most especially Paulina, who handles the creatives.
Yay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, Belle, this is the last question. You've definitely shared a wealth of wisdom in these past few minutes.
I
But
hope so.
yeah, no,
Yes,
for
yes, you
sure.
did.
Tristan, have you already checked out your cart, by the way? I think he
Yeah, I'm
already
gonna check.
ordered a
Actually,
couple
it's
of these.
as you can see, like I'm the guy who missed the memo, so
I'm gonna send
I
you
definitely
Recess.
have to.
Belle, you need the denim version of it, by the way. Tristan's the denim guy. I know it doesn't,
Yeah.
just hear us out. Hear us
So
out.
now it's your turn. Like earlier, I
Why
was
not?
dissing your formal wear. Now you're going into my denim. Like,
There you go. There you go. Sorry, actually, I'm gonna put Tristan on the spot one more time here, but you know what? Maybe,
what's this? What's
maybe,
this?
maybe people want to gift Tristan some birthday diamonds because it's Tristan's birthday in 3 hours.
Tomorrow.
Happy
3
Happy
hours. So
birthday,
birthday!
thank you. I'm
Um,
now 28 and 364 days old.
So
there
you're
you
you're
go.
29 tomorrow.
Yeah, turned 29.
Good
Oh my
age.
God.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks,
What
guys.
age.
for your birthday?
Now I'm gonna work. I'm not going on
No,
leave.
no, you're not. You're gonna
Yeah.
recess. You gotta recess. You gotta
Yeah,
recess.
take
Well,
the day
okay.
off.
Anyway, well, I'll make it a, I'll make it a chill. I'll help make it a chill work day for you. I'm not on Kumu right now, by the way. I'm not because I'm like focusing on everyone here. But I hope there's some nice Kumu lechons being sent our way. But anyway,
You
last
actually have to
thing.
shout out, Mitaka. I'm gonna shout
Oh,
out
there.
Raymond Apacible for sending a Carlito Vici just a few minutes ago.
Wow. Wow. And we actually do have a hello from
Hi,
YouTube. Hope you're
friend.
not embarrassed, Belle. Say hi. Hi, Belle's mom.
Not
She says, "Yeah, your mom says hi."
hi.
She says, "Love recess, so
What?
stylish."
Why are
Yeah.
you there? Why?
Oops, oops. Yeah, yeah. No, it's someone just posing as her. Anyway, hi, Tita. Okay. Anyway, last thing. Okay. In case you missed out on anything, because we are about to wrap things up in a bit, any last bits of advice, Belle, for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially those into wellness and body positivity? Mm-mm.
Any advice for on first of all, for all entrepreneurs, my humble advice would be something that my husband drilled down to me is know your numbers. Even if I'm like I'm not a numbers person, but really study it and learn it.
Yeah.
Second is you have to be transparent with your partners. I think that makes a really good foundation. If you guys are honest, transparent, and you can speak freely, then it really solidifies your bond. And lastly, follow your passion.
Mm,
So
yeah.
yeah, I hope that helps somebody.
That's nice. Yeah, I think so because it's such a dreary time right now.
And we're also not
So
numbers people, so
yeah,
also
there
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
like
a
go.
numbers person. Yeah.
of asking questions and learning, because I failed algebra twice, right? But now I have to like look at these sheets and I always ask questions like, okay, what's this, what's that? So everything is learned.
Mm,
And my cousin Georgina told me, if you don't like understand or like math, it's not because you're not good at it. It's because you probably didn't have a teacher that explained it well. So I'm like,
mm.
poor
That's a
teacher.
good one. And
May
it
pasya.
also and speaking from personal experience, it doesn't mean that like that is like your math acumen for the rest of your life. You can still learn. You can just keep
Yes.
doing
Yeah, it
it.
makes sense. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So we are gonna shout out our past math teachers.
Oh man. What didn't Bell just say that if we were bad, they weren't that great? Anyway, um, we're gonna stop that right there, but we're not gonna let you go just yet, Bell. Now's the fun part. We're gonna wrap things up as we always do with our play of the week. So this is exactly
Recess of the week.
this is the recess of the
We're
week because
recess of
this
Okay,
the
is what
week.
you
Yeah.
asked
rename it
earlier.
to that.
There you go. Oh
We're
well,
rebranding.
we there needs to be some IP contract there. Anyway, we talked a lot about work. Now let's talk about play. Any fun activities or recommendations for our listeners to unwind from the busyness of business? Bell?
I'm always on my phone or my screen, and something I like to do to unwind is I choose a book to read. And right now, I'm actually reading this book. It's called No Filter.
Mm.
It's a story about
Oh,
how Instagram started. And I thought it was really insightful because the founder, his name is Kevin, he was turned down by the CEO of Twitter and was like, "Pff, Instagram, that's just
oh
a fad.
yes.
That's never gonna be anything. That's never gonna be as big as Twitter." So it's funny that when you read these things, Kevin's system was like felt bad, right? And you're like, oh wow, and now look at Instagram, it's huge.
Yeah.
I like to challenge myself to read one book a month because it gives me time away from my phone. Obviously, when I'm not screaming at my kids, I
Yeah.
like to find time to read. Even though I never liked reading before, I force myself to do it because when I'm reading, I it's very relaxing for me. What about you guys? What
Nice.
do you do to recess?
Well, okay, hold on. I
Actually,
just want to
go
react to
Pam.
that. That's math. We did the math, and that's literature. Uh, proud of you. Proud of you, Bell. Keep
But
on doing it.
no, Howie,
Yeah.
to be honest, like I was the worst student. I was pasang awa. I never passed math. Like you would not believe my grades when I was in high school and college. So only
Yeah.
now I'm learning because I like what I'm reading, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tristan?
Yeah, actually, I wanna like double down on the book, Bell's book recommendation. Kasi ako, I also try to do that. Like, Japanese breakfast, Jay Brecky on
okay,
Twitter. So
no,
I saw her, not
Hmm.
Twitter, but on IG, I saw her post like, okay, if you wanna be a good writer, try to read 50 pages a day. So I tried to do that last
Yeah.
year, but then I couldn't like,
Wow.
I couldn't like keep it up. So I ended up like watching more TV. So these days it's more
Yeah.
TV. So I try to read the book. Currently, I'm reading The Witcher, short stories. Kasi that's
Oh,
like something
okay.
easier consumable. But I'm also trying to get a copy of Isaac Asimov's The Foundation, since I'm watching the show
Oh, okay. You
on
remember I
Apple
read
TV
that
Plus.
a few, not a few,
Yeah,
but a
I
bunch of
remember.
episodes ago. It's good.
That's
But
why
it's
I
so different.
messaged
The
you
show is
like,
so different, by the way.
yeah.
The shows. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just to give you an idea, like what I like about it. So if you talk about the foundation, it's hard to put into words, but because it's like galaxy spanning and like millennia spanning. But it's basically there's this guy, a
Mm,
mathematician who came
yes.
up with like a predictive, what do you call this? A predictive equation. So he can see like millennia into the future. So now they're trying to stop this impending apocalypse. So what I like
Yeah.
about the show, it feels very Game of Thrones season one. So it's epic in scale, but chamber piece and drama. So I like
Yeah.
the contrast. Like it's such big in scale, but it's really character driven drama like Mad Men or The Sopranos. So
That's
that's
yeah,
good play of the week.
my play of the
that's
week.
your
Yeah.
genre. I like
Yeah.
that.
Oh
That's
yeah.
Prison genre, yo.
Sci-fi.
You
It's
should
Dune.
tune into the that's Dune by the yeah. Tune into
Yeah.
the other episodes. He'll keep going. No, but I'll second Foundation, but again I will say not to be that guy, but I did love the book a lot more than I'm liking the series so far. But that's a very apt analogy, Tristan. Those are the same vibes as the book. It's very political, Game of Thronesy.
Yeah, I want to get a copy of the
Man,
book. Like I couldn't find a copy. Even fully book didn't have a copy right now. It's
yeah.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, my well now I want to recommend the book. Anyway, I got some books here, but these are mainly
So yeah,
no,
show us
actually
your book haul.
I've read no, this one's the second book of
Ooh,
Murakami's
Murakami. Yeah.
1 to 84. Yeah, but I'm everyone out there is more of a Murakami reader than well, actually no. I think this is like my fifth Murakami book now. Anyway, whatever. He's great. I don't consider myself a stan. Anyway, I will say what the play of the week I had planned. This is one of my plug play of the weeks. So I am happy and proud to say that we celebrated our 1 year anniversary for Rappler Act One,
Act
our short
one.
film section.
Hey.
Woohoo! Yeah. So Belle, if you don't know, we have some really cool short films on Rappler that Tristan and I actually were the
Curated,
ones who
yeah.
like program them and curate them. We have a cute little film section. We turned one uh, um, 2 days ago. So yeah, look out for, we're still going strong. Look out for more interesting short films from all sorts of Filipino filmmakers who are insanely talented, both whom you've probably heard of, and also more importantly, those who are still on the come up. So Rappler Act One, check it out
Probably,
if you
baka
haven't
you can
already.
teaser and we're planning like something for Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cross
we have
fingers, yeah.
we will have we'll just say we do have a horror short film coming out on Rappler Act One next week, next Friday. Okay, so stay tuned. All right. Anyway, Belle, that's it. Thanks so much. Hope
Thank
you
you so
enjoyed.
much, Pawi, for having me, and to all the listeners out there. I hope you guys took away something. If not, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. uh,
There you
and
go.
check out Recess
Yes.
at our dot recess on Instagram and on our website, www.ourrecess.com. And I want to just plug my new podcast with my sister.
Yeah,
It's
heard
called
about it. Go on.
Sexy Time Podcast, where we talk to sexperts and family and friends about their stories and questions, and we just share, some anything and everything about under the umbrella of sex.
Nice.
So I don't
When
know.
when did
Am I
you
allowed to
when did
plug
you
that?
start that one?
We just started it, like we've been planning it for a couple of months, and then we launched it 2 weeks ago, and it's on the number one podcast in Spotify. So thank you everybody.
Nice.
What?
Congrats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
We're
We're
gonna
we're
link
you.
out
obviously number two. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Anyway.
listen to the first episode, guys.
200.
Yay. Well, check it out. That's a good play of the week too, Belle. Anyway, you can also follow your hosts over here. I'm Powie at Powie Fiction on Instagram. Tristan?
And I'm at Tristan Zinampan across all platforms, even
There
LinkedIn
you go.
Live.
LinkedIn
I'm
Live. Uh,
Isabelle Daza
there
on
you go.
platforms as well.
Nice. Well, anyway, thanks so much again, Belle, for joining us. We want to thank Rappler's production team, Marga, Nauki, hello, community team, Ia, and our creatives team, of course. Thank you out there for watching and listening. If you haven't already, please follow Rappler on all platforms. You can catch us on Kumu by following Rappler.com, and you can follow the Hustle Inside the Industry podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We bring you a new episode every Monday so you can start your week with a little motivation. Bye, everyone.
Yay. Thank you. Thanks, Belle.
Bye.